Everyone. So South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma has been sentenced to 15 months in prison for contempt by the Constitutional Court. This relates to his defiance to testify before a inquiry into corruption during his time as president of the country. To me, it was a really good day. I was stunned that they'd done this. I didn't think this would happen. I actually found out about this through my sister on a family message group. And it was great because also Stockholm opened the vaccination slot for my age group. So it was a win-win all around. So I want to talk about why this happened and just a little bit of the factual circumstances surrounding this. So Jacob Zuma in South Africa has always had a colourful relationship with the law. Now, the reason for this, or at least the reason I suspect and the information that I've gleaned over the years, is that he's unable to support his lifestyle through legitimate means. And so he has to rely on, sources of income of a dubious legal and ethical nature to survive. So in the 1990s, there was this arms deal. It was corrupt. Many European arms companies were alleged to have paid bribes. Sweden, the UK, Germany, and France. Currently, a French arms company, I think it's Thales and Jacob Zuma are on trial for corruption. He managed to have those charges withdrawn before he became president, but during the time he was president, opposition parties went to the courts and basically had that decision reviewed because it was irrational and unlawful. That's a separate matter to the reason he was sentenced to contempt. During his tenure as president, this family called the Guptas were starting to get involved in a lot of state, businesses and starting to be awarded contracts that people felt were dubious. And they always denied it and said it was just jealousy or whatever. But then there was, a cache of leaked emails that were leaked to journalists, which became known as the Gupta leaks. And these emails clearly showed they provide documentary proof that there was corruption involved in certain aspects of the South African state, from the power utility, Eskom, to a whole host of things. And Zuma always denied this, but as a result of this whole thing, we have a body in South Africa called the Public Protector, and she basically instructed him or required him to set up a commission to investigate these allegations. Her actions are legally binding, and so he had to do it. So eventually he was required to testify, and during the testimony I think he actually got up and left, and he then thereafter refused to testify. He said the commission was biased against him, they were pursuing like some sort of vendetta. But anyway, the important thing to understand in South Africa and a lot of other countries, and this is actually from a case that Zuma himself brought up, was the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled in a judgment many years ago that a prosecution is not merely unlawful because it is brought for an improper purpose. It is unlawful when the facts and the legal justification for bringing it are absent. In other words, there is no crime and no facts to suggest that you've committed a crime. Then it would be improper and wrong to bring a prosecution against people. But this is something that Zuma has never denied. He's never denied the fact that these charges are sound. He's just said that it's a political conspiracy, but he's never actually said that he didn't actually, his denials are never really to the point, to be honest. So this commission, the State Capture Commission, went to the Constitutional Court and said, look, he needs to actually testify. He's the president of the country. We are talking about allegations here in South Africa where, the South African state was essentially sold to the highest bidder. This is not something that he can run away from. He actually needs to give his version of events and account to the people of South Africa. But you need to understand that this inquiry, like many inquiries, the evidence, if a witness incriminates themselves, that testimony or that specific, piece of where they incriminate themselves cannot be used in a criminal trial. So even if he incriminated himself, that testimony could not be used as evidence in a criminal court of law to convict him. And the Constitutional Court in this matter said, you can invoke your right to silence or to not incriminate yourself, but you have to go and actually take the stand as required and testify, because it's not a criminal trial, it's an inquiry. And he still refused to do this. In fact, he refused to submit an affidavit, which is a sworn statement, to the Constitutional Court explaining his reasons for not wanting to testify, and he failed to do so. And so they were really left with no other choice. There were two judges that dissented, but the only real difference between them and the majority's ruling was they said, we'll give him one more chance. And in reality is, how many more chances could you give this man? He's had ample opportunity. He's done this his whole life. He refuses to account for these things. And I believe that's because he's guilty, and he knows that, and he can't actually wiggle his way out of this. So he's engaging in this extrajudicial thing of attacking judges personally and accusing them of bias and political agenda, and not actually dealing with the facts of the case. And that's why he's doing this, because he doesn't actually have a factual legal basis to stand on, and so he has to attack the legal system of this country. And the point now, it's getting to the point where it's actually undermining the rule of law. It already has, but it's making it worse. So this was long overdue. My only concern is that his supporters and a lot of other people are going to continue with their baseless attacks against courts in South Africa. Instead of making a factual and legal basis for challenging the ruling, they're going to attack people and impugn them on a personal basis, which is not how things should be done. But anyway, it's a victory for the rule of law, that nobody's above the law. Everyone is required to obey and follow the law, and that includes the former president of the country. And it is a really important point. And it is a sad moment for the country, but it's also a proud moment for the country that we will hold everyone to account. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time, and bye-bye.